I don't know who you are. If you don't let my daughter go now, I will find you. I will kill you.
If you know Liam Neeson, you probably recognize this dialogue. However, the particular one mentioned at the start of this video was a fan request made at a BFC interview, where one of his fans wanted him to record her leave a message. Yes, it's weird, but it made her day. Liam Neeson's deep and grave voice has extremely magnetic qualities, where people can feel the emotion he is trying to express, simply through his voice. So much to unpack here, and so many things to talk about Liam Neeson. Are you aware of some of his gigs apart from acting? Do you know what happened with Natasha Richardson which devastated Liam Neeson? How did he venture into Hollywood? What was a tragedy that put a halt in his oh-so-successful life and career? How was he connected to his friend, who was raped by a black guy? If you want answers to all these questions, stick along to the end of this video as we talk about the tragedy of Liam Neeson and why is it so sad. 1. A stardom. Liam Neeson is the perfect example of diversity. Before diving deep into his Hollywood, we want to say a few things about this guy and his work. To say that he has been an absolute legend would be an understatement. There is barely anyone who wouldn't know Liam Neeson. Although he started unlike any other actor in the industry through small gigs, he created a name for himself in Hollywood that is unsurpassed to this day. It wasn't merely his acting skills that contributed to the stardom he sits on now, but the sheer variety of roles and films that he has been a part of since the early 1980s. From drama to comedy, and action to romance, Liam was absolutely everywhere, giving consecutive stellar performances. For a small-town Irish boy, to reach this level and earn an honorary award from the President of Ireland is an achievement of a lifetime. Apart from receiving multiple awards for his work, he has collaborated with some of the most talented people in the industry, including directors and other co-stars. Their creativity, on-screen presence, and skills combined made the perfect recipe for success. We will discuss more about the awards and all his earned titles later in this video, but for now, let us get a glimpse of his journey in the cinematic industry and some of his most promising work which left the audience and millions of people in awe of him. His career as an actor and as a part of the industry spans over decades. The multiple roles performed underscore his abilities as an actor, which sets him apart from the rest. His journey began in the early 1980s when eventually he was working small-time gigs. These included theater plays in his home country Ireland, and once he got noticed by Hollywood. He then moved on to being cast in supporting roles, and it was about time that he got his first big break. It was after 1976 that he moved to Dublin's Abbey Theatre, where he got noticed by director John Boorman, was cast in the film Excalibur 1981, which paved the way for the rest of his projects to come. From there on, he appeared in minor roles in British TV series, which included The Bounty 1984, A Woman of Substance 1984, The Mission 1986, and Do 8 for 1 1986. It was in the early 1990s that his career saw a shift and he starred in more prominent roles as compared to the minute roles he was a part of earlier. In Darkman 1990, he was the lead character, Peyton Westlake, a scientist turned vigilante who was attacked by mobsters. It was a rather difficult film encasing crucial emotions of revenge and feeling lost. However, Liam fit in the role perfectly and was accepted by the audience. The year 1993 turned out to be extremely promising for Liam as he was a part of the film Schindler's List. His role as Oscar Schindler resonated deeply with the audience, and it was one of the best movies at that time. It was directed by none other than Steven Spielberg, and the movie encapsulated a rather gruesome emotion around an intense topic of the notorious Holocaust. It was Schindler who saved almost 1,000 Jews from a terrible death. Liam's character in the movie starts as a cold-hearted person who eventually turns into a compassionate man. The character is not just raw but flows actually really well. The overall concept of the movie, the showcase of character development that developed over time, and of course Liam's acting made for an Oscar-worthy film. This reminds us that for this movie Liam was awarded an Academy Award, BAFTA, and Golden Globe nominations for the Best Actor. If you look up IMDb.com, you will come across multiple reviews from people appreciating the film for its quality and what it stands for. There were a lot of films being made on the Holocaust at the time, but they were inclined more towards showing the terror and horrific side of it, which was mostly of a negative connotation. However, this was the first movie that depicted something different, that not all bad happened. And there were people like Schindler who did something good. His next project was Rob Roy 1995, which was a historical epic. In 1996, Michael Collins came out, where Liam portrayed the role of an Irish leader. The film went on to be a massive hit in Ireland as it was about one of Ireland's toughest leaders and one of the bravest soldiers who was a part of the war post in which Ireland got its independence. There was a slight decline in his movies from here on, but the streak of mediocre movies ended in 1999 when he was cast in Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace. Despite the film receiving mixed reviews, Liam's character and role in the movie were deeply appreciated. He acted as Qui-Gon Jinn, who acted as a mentor to young Obi-Wan Kenobi. His role as a mentor brought a certain level of calmness and authority to the role, which was loved by the audience. His movies in the early 2000s were also a mix of various genres, where he squeezed in a little bit of love as well, along with action and drama. He did some amazing work in the form of K-19 The Widowmaker 2002 and Gangs of New York 2002. While in the second film, Liam's screen time was less than usual. He was still able to give the character an incredible depth, which eventually became a significant part of the whole movie arc. In Love Actually 2003, he played a rather intense character of a widowed stepfather dad named Daniel who was helping his son with his love equations. His performance was rather warm and gentle in the film, which was accompanied by tweaks of comedy here and there in their film that made it interesting. The 2004 film Kinsey received another Golden Globe nomination where Liam's role as a scientist earned him positive critiques. On his path to stardom, he came across Christopher Nolan's first installment of the Dark Knight series, which was Batman Origins. Probably one of the most complicated characters that Liam played, with an extra layer of suspense that swept the audience off their feet. The character Ra's al Ghul is introduced as a mentor to Bruce Wayne, teaching him all about true justice. However, later it was revealed in the movie that he had been the main villain right from the start. That additional layer of suspense, combined with the complex emotions that the movie had to capture, made it quite a task for the actors and demanded that they put out their best. A whole villain arc combined with the emotional betrayal, pretending to be the mentor, was something the audience did not expect. In comparison to the amount of anticipation this movie had, it did extremely well. It was quite interesting for fans to see Liam in a negative role. In 2008, Liam took the audience by storm through an action-packed series with some of the most iconic action scenes directed. His character in the Taken series 2008-2012 and 2014 is Brian Mills, who is a former CIA operative with a high skill set suitable for the work he was about to do in the film. He is a dad who is looking for his kidnapped daughter, but not without encountering troubles here and there. A compact and tight film with a fast pace that always keeps the audience on their toes as to what will happen next. Seeing a seasoned actor like Liam Neeson in an action-oriented role which was fresh and made for him was a treat to the eye. The superhero abilities and action scenes were a rather interesting bonus that helped in capturing the overall essence of the film. Moreover, the revenge-oriented plot of the film gave the audience the adrenaline rush they were looking for. When a father's daughter is kidnapped and he is filled with a rage to punish those behind it, captivates the audience like never before. The first part was released in 2008 and was the most successful of the three parts. Other two were released in 2012 and 2014 simultaneously. One of the most iconic memories of part one came in the form of one of his dialogues when Liam's character is speaking on the phone to the kidnapper and says, "I will find you, and I will unalive you." This became a pop cultural reference at the time. In 2016, Silence came out, where Liam played a significantly serious character, adding an extensive amount of emotional depth to the film. While he had covered mostly all genres of acting, only horror was left, and this came in the form of A Monster Calls in the same year. The film was about grief and healing, and Liam did justice to the film. Some of his most recent projects include Honest Thief 2020 and The Marksman 2021. Jigs apart from acting, Liam Neeson's work as an actor has been unparalleled by any other, and not without a cause. His work earned him accolades, which confirms his worth and stature in the industry. But apart from acting, he has given his voice to many prominent roles in documentaries, which played a great role in earning the success they did. Yes, that's true, one of your favorite actors, Liam Neeson, has been one of the best voice actors as well, who showcased the same amount of effort and brought in that personal and emotional touch to the roles through his voice as well. One of his most prominent roles has been in the series Chronicles of Narnia, where he gave his voice to Aslan, the majestic lion and one of the more central characters of the series. Many of his fans and people who love Narnia have labeled Liam as the perfect voice for the character Aslan. They liked how he was able to bring that emotional touch and sternness as well at the same time through his voice. Additionally, many believe that Liam's voice is something that made the first part of the series even more exciting. Another one of his voice acting roles came in the form of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in 2005. This continued in the form of Prince Caspian in 2008. And The Voyage of the Dawn Treader in 2010. Seeing great results in movies and series through his in-series, companies pitched him for providing it in their documentaries as well. Some of his most famous documentaries are Everest 1998, Human Planet 2011, and The Irish Revolution 2019. Many raise questions asking why was Liam Neeson chosen for so many voiceover projects. Well, here is an answer that makes sense. Over the years, Liam had built a name for himself and a loyal fan base who loved his work to the core. Working on many different genres throughout the years exposed him to different forms of roles where every time he had to capture a different emotion, he gave it his all, and people loved him ever since. Similar was the case in voice acting. Be it a serious documentary that requires a certain level of tension and mystery, or be it an animated film where the character is rather humorous, Neeson could switch with the snap of fingers. Involving Neeson in a project ensured its success and raised the bar higher than ever. His fans and the public in general loved his work, and if it was done by Neeson, this was more than enough of a reason for them to check it out. Keeping the context aside at the same time, if Neeson's acting skills weren't enough, the awards he earned through his performance in meaningful roles sealed the deal. His deep voice has proven to be the reason for success for countless projects and one of the prime reasons, where the audience can resonate with either a character or the narrator. 3. Relationships. Now, Liam Neeson is a Hollywood star. While mostly these stars are in the public eye because of their work, their relationships excite the public more than ever. Common, you are here for those too. So even if you don't admit it, no problem. We will anyways talk about the relationships that Liam Neeson was involved in including the one with Natasha Richardson, which had a very tragic end. His first relationship came in the early 1980s when he entered the industry. It was with actress Helen Mirren, whom he met on the set of Excalibur 1981. The two hit off immediately, and she was the one who introduced him to the industry and helped him form all his contacts in the initial years. Although they parted ways after several years of being together, they have expressed a common fondness for each other on multiple occasions. Even after a breakup, they have been friends ever since. Additionally, Liam said this about Helen in one of his interviews in 2018. "I should be so lucky and be honored to have spent 3 or 4 years with that lady. She's really something else." In 1988, he dated Julia Roberts. However, they went their separate ways just after 2 years of being together. In 1991, the actor had a brief romantic episode with the Broadway legend Barbra Streisand. While all this was out in the public, it wasn't of as much significance as nothing major happened, and they were just some flings or casuals with no serious intentions towards any of the partners. This was, however, about to change in 1993, when Natasha Richardson came into his life. What was supposed to be a mere Broadway show turned out to be a casting that would set the tone for the years to come, a relationship that would last from 1993 to 2009, and end on not-so-friendly terms for either of the parties. This is how it all started. Everyone experiences emotions, but some find the right people at the right time, and this is exactly what happened with Liam Neeson and Natasha Richardson. The cast and play were in place, and it went live on January 14th, 1993. However, there was so much before that, which sparked rumors of a supposed relationship between the two co-stars. Natasha at the time was married to British producer Robert Fox, and Neeson had a reputation for being in relationships with some high-profile people such as Helen Mirren and proposing to Brooke Shields months before meeting Natasha. While his proposal was rejected by Brooke, it turned out to be the right thing later on. Almost a decade ago, Liam confirmed this in an interview when a question was asked about his chemistry with Natasha on the play set they were a part of. "I'd never had that kind of an explosive chemistry situation with an actor or an actress. Once the play was shot, it was around the same time Natasha came out of a 4-year marriage with Robert and fell for Liam. Would you consider it bad timing? Because Natasha certainly did so. Here is something else she said about it. Working with him, what happened between us, and that becoming public knowledge in conjunction with my marriage falling apart, was kind of bad timing. So what can I say? Obviously, I fell very much in love with him. What started as something unexpected was turning out to be great for them." Later in 1993, while Liam was shooting for Schindler's List, he wished Natasha on her 30th birthday, and his words ensured that love was definitely in the air. Additionally, he said this about their relationship status at the time: "This is real and genuine, and is something that has to be protected." Well, Neeson was right, that it was something genuine, as the affair, which marinated for over a year, turned into a wedding in 1964. The ceremony was quite intimate, with celebrity guests on the list from the time. To top it all off, Natasha surprised her husband by singing Crazy Love for him. Neeson later revealed in an interview, "Behind my back, Natasha had been taking singing lessons to sing it for me. After the ceremony, we were all going out to start the night's festivities, and she grabbed the microphone and sang me this. She had learned it, and I was like, wow." The wedding turned out to be better than they could have expected. On June 22, 1995, they had their first child, and on August 27, 1996, the second one. However, there was something about the birth of the second child which bothered Natasha. She revealed in one of her interviews later that the couple planned to have more children, just not so quickly. She was apprehensive about the second child being born too close to the first, while it might have been a concern at the start. She came around it eventually and expressed nothing but gratitude that both the children could relate to each other better due to the shortage gap. Everything was going well for the couple, and they had thought of it to be a forever kind of thing, but life had other plans for them. On March 16, 2009, Natasha had a dramatic accident while she was skiing in the mountains of Quebec's Mont Tremblant. It was a beginner slope, and her instructor tagging along with her did not help. The actress reportedly fell while skiing and hit her head. It was confirmed that she did not have a helmet on at the moment. Despite people expressing concern for her and advising her to go to the hospital, she refused to do so. It wasn't until her symptoms worsened that she was rushed to a hospital in Montreal for emergency treatment. Neeson immediately left everything and headed straight to Natasha from Toronto, where he was working on his next film. This is where it gets even more tragic. As soon as Neeson arrived at the hospital, Richardson was announced brain dead by the attending doctor, with an X-ray confirming the same. As devastated as he must have been at the time, Neeson was aware of what he must do. He recalled the pact that they made together and went ahead with it. Any of us got into a vegetative state that we'd pull the plug. Neeson saw Natasha for the last time that they had, and they exchanged a few words while she was on her deathbed. She was on life support, and I told her I loved her. "Sweetie, you're not coming back from this. You've banged your head, and we're bringing you back to New York. All your family and friends will come." Her friends and family said their final goodbye to Natasha in New York City's Lenox Hill Hospital. While the family appreciated the insurmountable love and appreciation they received from fans and the public alike, they were shocked as the loss was too much to take in, especially for Neeson. It wasn't until February 23, 2014, that Neeson was somewhat okay with talking about Natasha's death and his experience with this event on air. Grief, like it hits you, It's like a wave. You just get this profound feeling of instability. You feel like a three-legged table. Just suddenly the earth isn't stable anymore. And then it presses and becomes more infrequent, but I still get it sometimes. I'm not good without work. I just don't wallow too much, and I just didn't want to. Especially for my boys, seem to be wallowing in sadness or depression. On July 24, 2020, Neeson said in an interview, "I speak to her every day at her grave, which is about 1.5 miles down the road. I go down there quite often, so I do speak to her as if she's here, not that she answers me." 4. Controversies. One undeniable thing is the fact that Hollywood figures are always under the spotlight. With every move of theirs being tailed, and every word/statement made out in the media, there is little to no room for privacy. However, something that common people like you, the viewers, or their fans seem to forget, is that they are human beings too at the end of the day. Our point is that anyone can absolutely have a contrasting view on the same topic. One must understand that right and wrong are subjected to each individual alone. The point is that one passes an opinion based on their knowledge, upbringing, and the life experiences they might have had in the past. All of these combine to form a person's perception of reality and how things are. But Hollywood celebrities have little to no room for error here. Controversies are a daily thing in Hollywood, where some statement made by any figure in the industry is misinterpreted, which results in them facing backlash. It is different because here you are not dealing with a handful of people, but the whole globe's access to what you said and under what context. Truth be told, Liam Neeson has been a part of such controversies as well. Some of his controversies are around his alleged support for gun rights, controversial comments on the #MeToo movement, and criticism for working with Woody Allen. While these all might slide under the door, some racist remarks he made in 2019 with context to a black dude stole the headlights, where all eyes and cameras were pointed towards Liam. Before you go on judging him for being racist based on color, hold your horses. Understand what went down and then decide for yourself. Liam Neeson was out promoting his upcoming movie based on a revenge plot, Cold Pursuit, which was set to release in theaters in 2019. However, it was around the same time he came to know of a horrific incident that occurred with one of her friends. She was brutally raped by a black guy, and this is something he got to know of when he returned from one of his trips abroad. This practically annoyed him and pushed him to make racist remarks against black guys. He admitted saying, "I went up and down areas with a kosh, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black bastard would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, so that I could kill him." This sparked a widespread controversy, and he faced countless backlash for this comment that he made. While everyone admitted to the fact that what happened with his friend was horrible, and something that shouldn't happen to anybody, they believed that this was no reason to make remarks against a community like this. If this wasn't enough, he additionally mentioned, "There were some nights I went out deliberately into black areas in the city looking to be set upon so that I could unleash physical violence." His career was not significantly affected because of this stunt or mishap, but he did feel the need to seek help for his anger and to rectify the nuisance his comments caused. It was some time after he spoke rather openly about it in several interviews he had with media agencies, as it had become a common question by then. In an interview with The Independent, he said, "It was horrible when I think back that I did that, and I've never admitted that, and I am saying it to a journalist. God forbid, it's awful. But I did learn a lesson from it when I eventually thought, what the F geek are you doing, At another point in time he mentioned, "You might have heard or read about my transgression. What I said about what I wanted to do to a black guy, any black guy, when I was a younger man in London. A friend of mine had been raped and I acted out of anger. I look back and now it honestly frightens me. I thought people knowing who I once was would make clear who I am, who I've become. But with all that being said, I am sorry, I apologize if I hurt people." Liam even mentioned that after the incident he turned even more to spirituality, where his church visits became regular, and he confessed about the same as well. He spent time with 2 of his really close friends who helped him through the dire circumstances. That was all from our side. To conclude, we will just say that Liam Neeson is someone who has been through a lot. While his life is filled with achievements in his professional life, including countless awards and being renowned with a loving fan base is no less than a gift, he is lucky enough to get married to the love of his life. As tragic as her demise was, he got to spend some lovely time with her while she was with him. Anyway, that's life, isn't it? Are you a Liam Neeson fan? What is some of his best work according to you? Was there something in this video that you were not aware of before watching it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked what you just saw, do not forget to like this video and share it with all your friends. For more such content, do not forget to subscribe our channel and turn on all notifications so that you do not miss an update from our channel.